It's crazy because from the beginning to the end, I've lived half of my life in and out the system, starting from juvenile through TDC, all the programs. And I mean, it's been about half my life in as much out.
How many calendar years do you think you've done since you've been locked up? And for those of y'all who don't know what calendar years are, that's slang for like how much time did you do in prison? So how much time did you do?
About 8 years.
About 8 years. So during those 8 years, you've been incarcerated in and out, things like that. What did you have to do? What was like the first unit you hit whenever you got arrested?
Well, for everybody, you know what I mean, you're gonna go through introduction. You're gonna go to Garza West. Once you do your, man, it's the beginning of the end. Like that's your first introduction to fucking prison. I mean, excuse my ass for prison. So it's horrible, man. Like you go in there, and, you know, coming from jail, everybody wants to get to TDC. Now, coming from jail straight to TDC, for people that it's your first time, like when it was my first time, you have to go through Garza West, Garza East. Then you're gonna go on chain for about 2 weeks, go from Darrington, Bird, stop somewhere maybe in Midland, depending on what region you're going to, determines how long your chain could be.
Garza West is where in Texas?
Garza West is gonna be in Beeville, Texas.
Beeville, Texas, and you caught chain. What does that mean, caught chain?
Catching chain is the famous Bluebird, man. It's a bus. You're chained up on the wrist to somebody else.
What's that like? Is that nerve-wracking? Is that because you don't know that person?
Comfortable. It is uncomfortable, bro. Like that will be the longest, worst ride of your life. It's there's no AC. It's uncomfortable. It's hot. You're grouped up. The seats are not. Believe me. And when I say you're on a bus ride, I'm sure people are thinking like maybe a comfortable tour bus. No. This is a basic school bus. Seats are stripped down to the steel, and man, it's pretty. It's an uncomfortable ride.
So after you got into Garza West, what did you first do when you like to survive in there? What did you do in prison, like to eat? Because you know they don't serve TDC. From what I heard, don't serve enough. They go by pounds and stuff like that. But from what I heard of, they don't really serve as much to y'all. Because you know we're grown men, we eat a lot. So after you go back to your dorm, what is it like? Like what do you do to eat?
In the food aspect, when you first get into the system, I mean, basic rule to anybody, solo or not, it's bring a stamp and eat like a champ, man. Our currency in there, amongst food, cigarettes, drugs, and all that, is stamps, man. When it comes to food, stamps is how you get paid. For the reality of it, though, for people that do or do not run with somebody, that also will determine whether you're gonna actually eat in there. And yes, the food is by portions, man. They go by the basic calorie count of what you need to survive. So anything more than that, it's either your picas or who you are.
Right.
It's gonna get you fed. Or if you got that stand, that's gonna money talk.
Yeah.
That's to eat. But on that, when you get to Garza West, on your introduction, you're actually segregated from the general population at first, and you're put into like a chicken coop situation. It's called a chicken coop. You're just in chain link fences, ducked off, so pretty much, man, the food's even worse because you're not getting it hot out the chow hall, you're getting it cold out of a cart.
What were one of the worst things that you've seen like in a chow hall? Because I know a lot of people ask questions about that. Like,
one of the worst things I've seen in the chow hall, look, on that, I'm gonna have a couple of answers. Now, for the food, the worst thing I've seen in a chow hall is rats swimming in the food. Now, the worst thing I've seen in a chow hall, I believe it was Garza East. I was on Garza East. That was the second stage of introduction.
So Garza West and Garza East are both in Beeville, right?
Both in Beeville.
Just different units?
It's actually an old Air Force base,
Mm-hmm.
and they've separated into 2 units. And so Garza West is introduction, then Garza East is the beginning, and then you're gonna get shipped off there to go through your chain till you get to your unit. But when I got to Garza East, I eventually got shipped off of Garza East due to a riot. Some things had me involved in it, and they shipped me off from there. But when I was there, I believe it was my second day there, they had a problem between somebody from the city and somebody from somewhere else. It was a Mexican and a black dude. And it's crazy because I'm walking one person away from the black dude, and city fucking gets up. Now, in the chow hall, we used to have the still pictures and all this, and salt shakers and pepper shakers. We don't have that anymore. The salt shakers, they were still, but they were banned after we beat them so much. So we had these cups, the TDC cups that they give us, and those are a thick, hard plastic. It's very hard to break them. So now the raza got the cup and started smashing this dude in the head. I literally seen the gas just spit from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
Just blood everywhere. And then what's the worst part of it, that's not the worst part of it. That's just the interesting part of it. Now the worst part of it is the two guards that got locked in the chow hall with us as this is going on, they start you see like some guards that have little pepper sprays. Some of them, which are the ones that mostly work like ag, seg, suited and booted, they're gonna have bear spray. Now, I've been sprayed plenty of times, but that bear spray is a mother, like for real. It's a huge can like this. And that spray, once you hit somebody, you're gonna see their outline on the wall. It was horrible, man. You can't breathe. That's what really gets people, really. For people that have been sprayed and have been through riots and things like that, and when you get sprayed, it burns. And never wash it, never just pour water on yourself. That's gonna make it worse. But what really gets you for the first time is your inability to breathe. All the mucus building up in your nose and the burn, your throat constricts, so it's scary. But once you realize it's not that bad, but it sucks.
So, cutting hair in prison, how do y'all do that? Because y'all can't take clippers to y'all's cell or anything like that. So, was that like another hustle of yours? Because I've heard that you've cut good hair with the comb and razor, and for those who never been locked up, a comb and razor it's pretty much a razor that goes in between a TDC comb. A lot of people don't know, but that really does give you a good haircut. And I know this guy right here, Brian Kelly, he does good haircuts with comb and razor. How did you go learning about that? Who taught you that?
To survive, every person in there, I mean, if you're blessed enough to have people that care about you and they're gonna send you care packs and money, and I'm not speaking down on anybody like that. I'm saying if you're blessed enough to have that, then yeah, you're gonna be good. You're gonna eat good. Between that and the chow hall, you should be alright.
Is that something
for those like the times like I didn't have it, because yes, from time to time, blessed to have as many baby mamas as I have, my mother, and my mother's still alive, my brothers, my people that out here in the street holding me down. Whatever that time comes and I have that little bit of money, sometimes it's better to invest into something that's going to continuously bring you money. This is the basic business instinct of anybody who's a true entrepreneur. So you're in a situation with some of the best talents in the world. Now, the person who taught me to cut hair, believe it or not, wasn't even on my race. It was a black dude who had done 17 years. He was already 17 years in on his life sentence. And he said, look out, Tone, like, you want to learn to cut hair? I mean, shit, I got nothing but time, brother. In there, you got nothing but time. So, yes, I took it upon myself, sat there, observed, saw the way he stroked the hair, the way he moved, how he moved the combs, the razors. He brought that game to me, and I mean, I took it very sincere, and that game right there had me paid beyond anything. I mean, of course, yeah, I had this hustle, that hustle, bleach, chemicals, whatever it is, sandwiches. I was a cook on 3 different units, head cook, ODR cook. So I had another hustle as well, but the hair cutting, man, people's hair gonna grow and they wanna look right. So basically every week you live in a dorm with X amount of dudes, hundreds, whatever dudes, and all of them need haircut.
Right. So how were the guards there? We're not gonna mention no names, but how would they treat y'all?
Well, in prison,
Were there any good guards that would look out for you, like, things like that? They weren't what we hear about today about guards beating up on inmates, nearly taking their life, which is not right. That they're pretty much committing murder, because you guys go through there. We're all human too. So it's how do they treat y'all there? Do they overpower y'all just because, or how is it there?
I mean, on occasion, you're gonna come across a guard who's disrespectful and does demean you, and his entire being is meant to demean you. Now, as you said, there was a time and a place in that place when the laws were actually their own game, and they took it pretty serious. And yes, they were beyond our rights, just killing us and fucking us off. So it began a war between us two. I mean, things have settled down to a point though. Now you have almost all guards just treat us. They realize we live there, they just work there. So doing their job within their guidelines just enough to where they don't get in trouble. Some will take upon themselves on a personal level with certain inmates and actually do things for us they wouldn't do for others. But that's with an understanding that on both ends, we're in a struggle. We're in the worst place in the world, in the worst conditions. And for the ones that are good, that do help us and are there to actually facilitate the means to help us get better while we're in there, we're thankful for them. I'm thankful for them. And the ones that helped me my entire time, I'm thankful for them. Now, for those 1, 2, maybe 3 guards that are red, we define them as red and green. Green means they're good, means they're gonna let us do what we're gonna do. They're gonna stay out the way, keep them out. They're good, they just wanna chill. The red ones, like Serpico, Robocops, know only one way, and that's the book way, and they just gonna fuck with everybody. I mean, the fact of the matter is though, most of them, they get caught because the fact of the matter is they gotta walk in that dorm eventually. Those guards do something bad to one person, he has nothing but day after day after day to think about how he's gonna get me. They normally do. That's the problem. That's why these guards, that's why I call suited and booted. They gotta be suited and booted because probably more than likely he's a pretty fucked up cop. He treats people that are the worst criminals in the world in a bad way. So what do you think they do to them?
All right. So after Garza East and Garza West unit, what was the next unit they shipped you to, and what was it like there, the process? Were you nervous? Were you like, I don't know what I'm walking into? I'm pretty sure everybody's nervous going to prison, I assume, because you don't know what you're going into. You just know you're going to be there. So what was it like going to the next unit, getting transferred when they tell you, it's time to transfer, you're already comfortable here at this prison, now you got to go be comfortable at another prison, not knowing what to expect when you get there? What was that like, trying to adapt to another prison?
I mean, change isn't something anybody wants, because once you go into a different unit, different dorm, different cell, with a different cellie, these are a whole new list of rules and people with their personalities. You have to learn all over again how to mingle amongst your peers. So I mean, it sucks. Now, after I left from Garza, I was actually shipped off due to a riot. So I actually won. Like, for that one, I didn't care where I was going, because when I left, I went to Dominguez. Now, Dominguez, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. So being from San Antonio, Texas, and the unit they're shipping me to is in San Antonio, Texas, was a personal win for me. Now I only had less than a year left. Because you see, once you're in that processing phase of introduction, you're only there for 2 years. So I had a year, no, it was about a year and 2 months left. I got to do that here in my hometown, San Antonio.
So you're a little bit more comfortable in San Antonio because you did have family that were close by, things like that. You felt a little bit more comfortable in your city, right?
Yeah, like for certain, we call it our backyard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got your stomping grounds, but this was just a place in my backyard, so I was able to have my friends, baby mamas, kids, everybody was able to come see me. I mean, the reality of it is in prison, where you're at and where you're from is going to determine. So when I'm in my own city, you tend to have a little bit more way of leeway in the way of having to hustle and how to get things done.
All right, well, it looks like we're gonna wrap it up for this video. This is Kelly, Brian Kelly. Thank you for taking the time out to do this interview with us. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's The Life of a Felon, and go ahead and subscribe, and we'll be doing more videos here with Brian Kelly.